Now we go to language variations and social linguistics. The key concepts, as you can see here, is dialect regions, dialect assumptions and challenges, linguistic variables and social meaning, defining social class categories, memberships, and data collections, and what relations can tell us. Okay, now we go on to the regional variations. So before that, we go to see the introductions first. This chapter builds on discussions of varieties in chapter previously to present a history of variationist sociolinguistics research, which focuses on regional and social dialects. Sociolinguists today are generally more concerned with social variations in language than with regional variations. So, however, if we are to gain a sound understanding of how of the various procedures used in studies of social variation, we should look at least briefly at previous work in regional dialectology. That work points the way to understanding how recent investigations have proceeded as they have. Studies of social variations in language grew out of studies of regional variations. It was largely in order to widen the limits and repair the flaws that were perceived to exist in later that investigators turned their attention to social variations language. As we will see, there may be still there may still be certain limitations in investigating such variations, but they are of different kind. So we go on to regional variations straightly. The mapping of regional dialects has had a long history in linguistics. So, in fact, it is a well established part of the study of how languages change of time, that is, diachronic historical linguistics. Traditionally, dialect geography, as this is area of linguistic studies known, has employed assumption and methods drawn from historical linguistics. In this model, language of language change and dialect differentiations, it should always be possible to relate any variations found within a language to the two factors of time and distance alone. For example, the British and American varieties or dialects of English are separated by well over 2 centuries of political independence and by the Atlantic Oceans. And now mapping dialects. Dialect geographers have traditionally attempted to reproduce their findings on maps in what they call dialect atlases. Then they try to show the geographical boundaries of the distributions. So such a line is called as the isogloss. So on occasions, though a number of concise that there is a bundle of isoglosses. Such a bundle is often said to mark the dialect boundary. Quite often, the dialect boundary coincides with some geographical or political factor. For example, a mountain bridge, a river, or the boundary of an old principality diocese. Isoglossals can also show that a particular set of linguistic features appears to be spreading from one location, a focal area, into neighboring locations. In the 1930s and 1940s, Boston and Charleston's with the focal areas for a temporary spread of lawlessness in the eastern United States. Alternatively, a particular area or like area may show characteristic of being unaffected by changes spreading out from one or more neighboring areas. Places like London and Boston's obviously focal areas. Places like Martha's Vineyard, New England, it remained R pronouncings in the 1930s. In 1940s, even Boston's dropped the pronunciation R pronouncings. In Devon, in the extreme southwest of England, are relic areas. So the Rhenish fan is one of best known set of icicles in Europe, setting a low German to the north from High German to the south. As you can see to the south, the set comprises of the P, the K. This is the map. As you can see that the yellow color line, and also the purple color line, yellow and also green. So we come to the term of the isoglosses. Very often, the isoglossals for individual phonological features not coincide with on one another. They give us clearly demarcated dialect areas, shown in the figure, the map there, uh, and also boxes here. While the idea is that isoglosses coincide as in A, in reality, isoglosses may be cross as in B. Some examples of how different features of dialects pattern can be seen in C. Such patterns are just about impossible to explain using the traditional family tree account of language change. Isoglosses to cross and bundles of them are rare. It is consequently extremely difficult to define boundaries between dialects in this way, and dialectologists acknowledge this fact. The postulated dialects areas show considerable internal variations, and the actual areas proposed are often based on only a few key items, linguistic variables in our terminology. Consequently, as Lepage says, the dialect areas outlined by the isoglossal and maps were artifacts of the geographer. They have to be matched against such stereotypes as Southern dialects or Alemannic, Lang-Doch concepts, which are often related in the minds of outsiders to just one or two variables, characterizing complete discrete systems. The methods in dialectology. There are methodological issues which have caused sociologists to question some dialect studies. You can see here. So type one, we have little formal educations, little reading, restricted social contacts, and then type two, better formal educations, usually high school and wide reading, and type three, superior educations, using college, cultural background, wide reading, and extensive social contacts. Each of the types was then subcategorized as follows: type A, aged, and then type B, middle aged. Now we go to dialect mixture and free variations. Linguists have long been aware of variations in the use of language. Individuals do speak one way on one occasions and other ways on other occasions. Yeah, that's why we have to see the situations, also place and time when we do the speaking. Such variations are often ascribed to dialect mixture, that is the existence in one locality of two or more dialects, which allows speakers to draw now on one dialect and then on the other. Quantitative sociolinguistics. This kind of sociolinguistic investigation is often called quantitative sociolinguistics, and it is, as we have indicated previously, for some sociolinguists, the heart of sociolinguistics. Quantitative studies must therefore be statistically sound if they are to be useful. Validity and reliability. Validity implies, as said by Lapper, researcher must show that what is being described is accurately named, and reliability is how objective and consistent the measurement of the actual linguistics data are. Each dropping means for five social groups, and each dropping within groups ranges for five social groups, as you can see in the diagram, the figure itself. And that's all, folks, for today.